Hello everyone and welcome back to OneSoccer. I'm your host for today, Josh Deming. Now FIFA recently announced that John Herdman will have the opportunity to bring up to 26 players to Qatar for the 2022 World Cup. Now John Herdman has used a lot of different players throughout qualification and this is going to be a very difficult decision for him. So I thought I'd come on here today and help him out. So I'm going to build my predicted 26-man World Cup roster of what I think that John Herdman could do or slash what I would do. So hopefully if you guys are excited, be sure to drop a like, drop a sub, let me know your thoughts as well down in the comments, and let's get into it now. The very first thing we're going to do is establish a formation. Now we've seen John Herdman use a lot of different formations over the past year. The 4-2-3-1, 3-4-3, 3-5-2, and of course the 4-4-2. I'm going to go with the 4-4-2 because I believe that's his established formation, so it's going to be ours. That does not mean that this is going to be the formation they're going to use for every single World Cup match, but it's a good starting spot. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to be going position by position, and I'm going to put the players who I believe are going to be playing in that position depth chart style. We're going to kick things off with the goalkeeping position, and these three for me are pretty self-explanatory. But to give it a little twist, I'm also going to assign every player a jersey number, because I believe, I can probably predict them. So in goal, we have number 18, Milan Borjan, backup number 16, Maxime Crépeau, and third string, number 1, Dane St. Clair. All three incredible keepers. It's going to be interesting to see them fight it out, but I think Borjan's got the edge in this one. In the right back position, I've selected two players, number 2, Alistair Johnston, and number 22, Richie Laryea. For the two center back positions, I've gone with 5 players. Now, I know Canada could obviously play with a back 3, but we know Alistair Johnston will slide into one of those center back positions. So I feel like 5 is a safe bet, and these are the players I've gone with. Number 4, Kamal Miller, number 5, Stephen Vittoria, number 15, Doniel Henry, number 23, Scott Kennedy, and number 26, Derek Cornelius. We have 3 very talented left-footed center backs in Miller, Kennedy, as well as Cornelius. I believe they've all done enough to make this squad. And like I mentioned, if John Herdman does use a back 3, having that extra body back there could be useful for him. For the left back position, I've gone with 2 players, number 3, Samuel Adekubi, as well as number 24, Raheem Edwards. For the right mid position, I've gone with 2 players as well, number 11, Tajon Buchanan, and number 10, Junior Hoylett. For the 2 center mid positions, I've gone with 6 players. Now, I've gone with 6 players for a similar reason why I went with 5 players for the center back position. And that's because there's also a likelihood that when we play that 3-5-2 system, we're going to need an extra body in the midfield, which is why I think that John Herdman more than likely will bring an extra player or 2 for the midfield as well as the center back position. The 6 players are number 7, Stefan Eustáquio, number 13, Atiba Hutchinson, number 14, Mark Anthony Kaye, number 21, Jonathan Osorio, number 6, Samuel Piette, and number 8, David Wotherspoon. My wild card for this position is David Wotherspoon. I believe that this is the player that John Herdman really rates and would have played a significant role if it wasn't for that major injury that laid him off for several months. Now there's still a lot of question marks around Wotherspoon. What kind of player will he be like returning from this injury? Will he become a locked-on starter for St. Johnstone? Will the performances still be there? These questions are big ones. I think David Wotherspoon is up for the task, and if he's able to show that type of form that won him 2 cups in the previous season, I think John Herdman will opt to call him. For the left midfielder position, I've gone with 2 players, number 19, Alphonso Davies, and number 25, Liam Miller. Liam Miller is facing big competition for that spot, but I'm going with him because this is a player who blossomed this season for Basel. He's become a team of the season member in the Swiss League. I know he's going through an injury, but he's on the road to recovery, and he's still yet to prove himself for the Canadian men's national team. But I'm expecting another big season in Europe. He's going to be showing that kind of form that got him these calls for Canada, got him the team this season, and he's a player that I think could be a bit of a wild card too coming off the bench in Qatar. For the striker position, I've gone with 4 players, and they're pretty self-explanatory as well. We have number 20, Jonathan David, number 17, Kyle Larin, number 12, Ike Ugbo, and number 9, Lucas Cavallini. In my opinion, the 2 formations that John Herdman likes using the most is the 4-4-2 and the 3-5-2. Both systems start with 2 strikers, which is why I believe he's going to go with 4. He may even surprise us and bring 5 strikers and maybe sacrifice a midfielder. But because I think that David Wotherspoon can be that real wild card, I went with him in the midfield instead of another striker. Those are the 26 players that I would bring to the Qatar 2022 World Cup. So what will my starting 11s look like? Well, let's do 2, because like I mentioned, there's 2 systems that I believe John Herdman will more than likely go with, the 4-4-2 and the 3-5-2. So here's my starting 11 using the 4-4-2. Now, in my opinion, I believe that John Herdman's favorite system is the 4-4-2. We have seen him use this numerous times, and I believe that the players actually really fit this system as well. This is how I'm going to line them up. In goal, we have Milan Borjan. At right back, I'm going with Alistair Johnston, and I put him above Richie Laryea for a couple different reasons. I put him at right back because he has become a rock at the back for the Canadian men's national team. He does it at the outside right center back. He also does it at right back. And for CF Montreal, he's been playing as a wing back as well. So he's got that defensive awareness. And when playing in a 4-4-2 with basically 4 attacking players, having that little extra defensive stability really comes in handy. For the 2 center backs, I've gone with Steven Vittoria and Kamal Miller. This is pretty self-explanatory for me. I think the only real debate is maybe for that left-hand side between Scott Kennedy and Kamal Miller. But in my opinion, Kamal Miller, since the Gold Cup, has really locked down this position and showed that he is a starting player on that left-hand side, which unfortunately leaves Kennedy on the outside looking in. At left back with Alphonso Davies playing a little higher up the pitch, I have Samuel Adekubi. Adekubi, again, has been a revelation for this back four. He can do it as a wing back role and a left back role, and I'd be very comfortable with his defensive awareness starting in a back four. At right mid, we have Tajon Buchanan. This is one of the positions I think we're going to get the best out of him. Instead of playing way up as a winger or even as a wing back, I think having this ability to play kind of as a midfielder, going up when he wants to, still having some defensive responsibilities, but mostly gets to just focus on his game. And it's a very easy position for me at the right midfield. For the 2 center mids, I've gone with Stefan Eustáquio and Atiba Hutchinson. Now, given Hutchinson's age, it's going to be a little bit difficult for him to start all the matches, but when he's fresh and when he's good to go, he's my number one. He's a leader for this team, he's the captain of this team, and he's got a good partnership going on with Stefan Eustáquio, and those 2 players are going to lock down the midfield. At left mid, I have Alphonso Davies, and in my opinion, this is the best formation for Davies. Now, I like seeing him as a wingback and a winger as well, but I believe when you have a left back behind him, those overlapping runs become very handy. Davies has the responsibility to be able to cut inside when he needs to. Those dangerous left-footed crosses of his come in handy for strikers just to tap in. He does everything you want him to do from the left-hand side, and he's definitely starting as a left mid in this system. For the 2 strikers, I have Kyle Larin and Jonathan David. Again, these 2 players work well off each other. They're trying to build that chemistry. They can go quiet every once in a while, but when push comes to shove and you want 2 players to put the ball in the back of the net, there's no better option for the Canadian men's national team than Jonathan David and Kyle Larin. The second formation we're going to take a look at is the 3-5-2. Now, I believe that the system will probably be used against Croatia and Belgium. I think the 4-4-2 can be open and is a little bit more useful when you have a lot of possession. But when you're defending, when you get put on that back foot and you have attacking talent like Belgium, Croatia, Kevin De Bruyne especially, you got to be able to switch up shape, and I think that there's a lot of coverage in this system. Now, when I'm looking to line this team up, I have Milan Borjan in net. At right wing back, I have Tajon Buchanan because I don't want to take Buchanan out of this team. It's a very interesting debate between Richie Laryea and Tajon for that right wing back, but I think having that ability that Tajon has because he plays as a wing back for Club Brugge, when he needs to go forward, he can be useful and he's got that defensive awareness. So I put him on the right hand side to try to help on the counter, get him in position to put in a cross that hopefully a striker can tap home. At outside right center back, you have Alistair Johnston, pretty much the only player in this squad that can play that system, and he's almost irreplaceable. So there's no real debate about anyone else who can go there unless a Joel Waterman can sneak into the squad. But for right now, it's Alistair's to lose. At central center back, you have Steven Vittoria, and this is where I believe he's at his best when he's got coverage to the right and coverage to the left. Vittoria getting up there in age, but definitely a very useful player. And when he plays at the heart of the defense, this is where I believe he has the most opportunity to shine. At outside left center back, I have Kamal Miller. Again, the left-footed defender, very quick, very pacey, can cover Vittoria as well. He's got the debate with Kennedy who should go there, but for me, even in this system, advantage goes to Miller. At left wing back, this is a difficult one because I don't love leaving Samuel Adekubi out of this starting 11, but it has to be Alphonso Davies. Clearly, there's got to be a role for Alphonso Davies, and in the system, he could probably play one of 2 positions, and that is left wing back or a striker. I prefer him from the wide. I think that's where you're going to get the best from him. We know that Davies has got defensive abilities. We see it at Bayern. He plays as a left back, but the freedom to play as a wing back, knowing that you have 3 center backs there, you're going to see Davies also shining near his best. The 3 midfields I've gone with is Atiba Hutchinson, Stefan Eustáquio, and Jonathan Osorio. And this is an interesting one as well because, like I mentioned, as long as Atiba Hutchinson is fit, ready to go, he starts in this match. Playing just behind him is Stefan Eustáquio, who runs the midfield the way he can. But adding Jonathan Osorio, a little bit of a creative outlet to this midfield 3 really rounds it out. I don't think Marc-Anthony Kaye can quite bring that, and if you're going to put Kaye into this 3-man midfield, it would probably be for Hutchinson. But Jonathan Osorio can float above those 2, can get on the ball, can look for outlets. This is a really well-rounded midfield 3. The 2 strikers are going to be Jonathan David and Kyle Larin. When it comes to a front 2, these are the guys you're looking for. Those are the 2 formations that I think John Herdman will more than likely use at the World Cup. However, we're not done here. We're also going to do 2 other formations that John Herdman has used throughout qualifying, and there's a slight possibility that he could use these at the World Cup as well. The first formation is the 4-2-3-1 system. We saw him use that against Mexico. This is a formation that I was surprised with because we haven't seen him play with it too much, but there's definitely something about this formation that works. In goal, we have Milan Borjan. At right back, I'm going to go with Richie Laryea for this system because we have those 2 CDMs that are floating just above. It adds a little bit more coverage and allows Richie to get up the pitch and do those overlapping runs with Tajon Buchanan just ahead of him. The 2 center backs, I'm going with Steven Vittoria and Kamal Miller. When it comes to a back 4, those are the main 2 for me. At left back, you have Samuel Adekubi, who can do those overlapping runs as well, but still has coverage and has someone like Alphonso Davies in front of him who can add a little bit of defensive awareness when need be. For the two CDMs, I have Atiba Hutchinson and Stefan Eustachio. Both can play deep, both can play in that 6 to 8 roles, and they would be very useful players just above the back four. At center attacking mid, I have Jonathan Osorio, and he can play as a 10. We know that. The only other player that I think can maybe play in that position is Junior Hoylett, but I've opted to go with Jonathan Osorio because I think he brings that little bit extra to this side. At right attacking mid, like I mentioned, there's going to be Tajon Buchanan, who will be looking for those overlapping runs from Richie Larea. He plays a very advanced role in this system, and I think it's one where he's going to be able to shine. At left attacking mid, you're going to have Alphonso Davies, who has the ability to go forward, playing a little higher up the pitch, but will have Adekubi in behind him. The lone striker I've gone with is Kyle Larin. It's a tough debate between Jonathan David and Kyle Larin, but when it comes to a single striker role, I like what Larin brings. A little bit stronger of a body, a little bit more hold-up play, and I think that rounds out this starting 11. The last formation we're going to take a look at is a 3-4-3 system, and I really like this formation for a couple different reasons, but the number one reason is because it allows us to use 4 different wide players. In goal, you have Milan Borjan. At right wing back, you have Richie Larea. When it comes to playing a wing back and having a winger in front of him, the only real option is Richie Larea. I think he adds just a little bit more than Alistair Johnson when it comes to playing in that wing back role. At outside right center back, you have Alistair Johnson, and like I mentioned, is the only player who can really do that right now. At central center back, you have Steven Vittoria, and outside left center back, you still have Kamal Miller. At left wing back, you have Samuel Adekubi. This formation definitely opened up a position for him. The two center mids is Stefan Eustachio and Atiba Hutchinson. I think the midfield is the main issue when it comes to this system. It can be a little bit open, but there's a lot of coverage from the wings. At right wing, you have Tajon Buchanan. I love the idea of seeing him play as a winger. You have Richie Larea as a wing back behind him. You give him the freedom just to simply focus on attacking, and that could really benefit Canada and Tajon. At left wing, you have Alphonso Davies, and like Tajon, you guys see him in a natural winger position. You have the coverage from Adekubi in behind, plus 3 center backs, and it gives Davies just real focus on attacking, and that's what he does best. At striker, I've gone with Jonathan David over Kyle Larin for this system because Jonathan David's able to drop in and almost act as a 10. In the 4-2-3-1 system, I went with Larin because Jonathan Osorio is the player who's able to create and go in that hole. But when there's not a center attacking mid in this system, I like the ability of Jonathan David to drop deep, kind of act as that 9-10, and go forward and look for the outlets on the wings. There you have it, my 2022 Canadian Men's National Team World Cup roster. So let me know how you think I did. Do you believe that I picked the right 26 players? Is there an outside shot like an Ismail Kone, Liam Fraser, maybe Corbiano? Let me know down in the comments, and let me know what you thought about my starting 11s. Would you line up in the same way for the 4-4-2 or the 3-5-2? Or do you think John Herdman or yourself would do something different? I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and if you did, as always, be sure to drop a like, drop a sub as well, because we're getting very close to 50,000 subscribers. Very close to a goal, so if you really want to help us get there, dropping a sub will definitely do that. Also, be sure to subscribe to OneSoccer for all the best Canadian soccer content. My name is Josh Deming. I thank you guys so much for watching. We'll see you guys next time. Cheers, friends.